Black women love so much. They even audition for it. Mna, I will never let ndoda yam suffer. That time is not even your man. That time, the little cent that you sacrifice to him, it goes to Nomzamo. That time, he knows how to make a plan, but because you want to breastfeed him like an overgrown baby, he will continue to milk you. Guys, niyayithanda struggle love. You love into engathi buhlungu. It must be painful. There must be absence. There must be audition. You must audition. You must be in the semi-finals. Be in your aura. Feminine energy is so foreign to you. You want to be the man for him. You want to be man in these relationships. That's why there's no respect anymore. Because you want to be the heads. You want to take charge. How is he going to be the man when you're treating him like a baby who can't think for himself, who can't reason for himself? Nifuna saver all the time. You are up in arms. Relationships don't have a formula. That time you are suffering. That time you are suffering wena. Bathi imali yakho. Hey, now I will never let a man. He's not even loyal to you. Writing long essays on how you will never let a man suffer. He's not even yours. That man is not going to sacrifice quarter of the things you've sacrificed. Sometimes you need to do an introspection before you take a relationship. Many of you, your relationships are taking. In fact, you're not even in a relationship. And you know that you're not in a relationship. You know you're not in a relationship. See a builder. What are you building? He doesn't want to build with you. Let me tell you, a man will do what he wants to do for who he wants to do it for. You don't have to beg. Why do you like to beg? Why? Why do you like to save the day? It's not your job to save the day. Your job is to make it better. He must save the day. You are exhausting. Nina. No. Of course they are good men. Of course. And you will never date them. You will always date the parasites who will paralyze your heart. Amapara. Because you don't love yourselves. Let's build. I'm a quality woman. A quality woman uses their brains and they think. They evaluate people. They see red flags. That's how you can tell a user from a real man. But because you're so desperate for love, I'll stand.
Just because he saw his mama struggle, he thinks you should struggle right along with him. The days of struggle love are fucking over. Ladies, you can do well by your goddamn self. You don't have to struggle with a man to prove your worth, your love, your devotion, because he's going to step on you and cheat on you any goddamn way. His mama did that struggle love shit and his grandmama did that struggle love shit. And where did it get them? They granddaddy and daddy dog walked all over them. They watched their mamas and grandmamas get played, used, walked all over. Their mamas and grandmamas and aunties are nothing more than pick-me's that believed in that struggle love shit, and now they all old, miserable, and fucking depressed. So he feels that because he watched the women in his family cling on and hold on and do any goddamn thing to keep a man that's dog walking them, cheating on them, putting their hands on them, he's going to expect you to do the same shit. This is why the domestic violence rate is so high, because he's going to get frustrated when he can't control a woman that's not going to behave or fall in line the same way that he saw his mama and grandmama and aunties fall in line with their fucking men. Those women in his family are miserable. And I can guarantee you, if you were to ask all the women in his family if they were going to do the same thing all over again, I guarantee those women would choose a different path. They allowed those men to steal years of their life, steal years of their youth. And now these men are running the streets with their side chicks. And the man you're dealing with expects you to be the same motherfucking way. Hell no. Ladies, let me tell you something. You're not going to get no benefits out of struggling with a fucking man. That 50-50 shit is for the birds. Because you go 50-50, you help him build himself up. He gonna go get with a woman and he gonna leave your ass. And the woman that he gets with, the woman he proposes to and marries, she not gonna have to lift a finger. She not gonna have to go 50-50. She not gonna have to build shit for him. He gonna take good care of her. The more that you do for a man, the more that you submit to a man, the more that he loses respect for you. Dealing with a man that was coddled by his mama and she lacks self-respect and she lets her husband or boyfriend or whoever run all over her, that is your sign to leave, because he was raised to believe that women are to fall in line and give him whatever the fuck he wants, even the benefits of cheating on you. He's going to feel entitled. And he's going to label it struggle love. You supposed to be my ride or die. You bigger and stronger than this. No, nigga. I'm bigger than this. Fuck you. Goodbye.
So I'm not saying that I don't want to learn or that I don't want to go through any challenges in relationship, but I don't want any part of struggle love. I feel like in relationships these days, struggle love is always the expectation. Like having to question people's loyalty, wondering if you can trust people, trying to understand and see if the person that you're dealing with right now actually wants to be in a relationship or if this is some kind of situationship. All of it is too much. It's too much. I don't want to have to deal with anybody's struggle in relationships. I don't want to have to be anybody's struggle in relationships. But I hope for us to be found in relationships where love is not a hard thing to identify. In a relationship where trust is present even when I'm not. I want to learn and overcome challenges in relationships, but I only want to do that if it's rooted in a pure.
And I will not be doing a movie review on Straw After Sinners. I'm not taking no more of y'all movies suggestions. Obviously, just given the nature of the movie, I am tired, okay? Tyler Perry, I understand that you want to capture the struggle of the black woman, but that's not all we're about, okay? This has been your MO since you came onto the scene as a movie producer and director. Why don't you give us a movie where we're painted as the queens we are? Something positive, opening up a successful business, changing lives, which we do on a daily basis. We do more, and we are worth more than just Hollywood looking at us struggle and strive and get to the top, doing what we can as single black moms on the last straw, the job, the baby daddy. That's not all we're about. So if that's what you think of when you look at black women, I'm finna stop supporting you too. Starting with this movie. I will not be watching it. I will take y'all word for it. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of us being painted in Hollywood as slaves or under somebody's foot to even get a decent piece of the pie, or struggling single black mothers fighting and striving to get to the top. I'm aggravated, okay? Aggravated.
Based on the way black men talk about black women today, it seems as if black men were built to destroy the black woman. They'll destroy her love, they'll destroy her life, they'll destroy her image. Because they never gonna say anything positive, they never gonna uplift her, they never gonna treat her right. All they gonna do is scream at them, bash them, try to shame, and then try to label it as correction. No, it's not. It's not correction. You just became the palm-colored man. You're the one with the whip now, and you just want to shame the black woman. Okay? That's what you guys are doing. And then another thing is, you guys are okay with being a fetish. You're okay with fetishizing other races of women and being a fetish, and then want to try to flex on black women. Look, we the most desired man. For what? You're the most desired sexually, but you're okay with that because you're okay with being I can't say that word on here. As a man, though, you can fill in the blank. And then you guys have more smoke for black women than any other race of man. You got more smoke for black women than men, period. The only type of man y'all give criticism to is one y'all try to label me as what? Panderer. Oh, you're a panderer. You're this. And you saying what women want to hear. No, I'm talking directly to y'all. Y'all don't want to hear it. I literally get responses like, brother, I agree with 99% of what you're saying, but it's the messaging. Wait a minute, hold on, time out. The messaging don't ever matter when y'all do screaming at women and talk and try to label it as harsh truth. But when I give a harsh truth, now it's pandering. Because black men are the first ones to give criticism, but you can't take it. You can't take it. Once a man start talking about us, it gotta be pandering. It gotta be using women. It gotta be trying to get some out of women. But y'all seek the approval of man, and I ain't with that bro code shit. Because I know majority of you niggas just trash. And you don't give a fuck about black women. Because if you actually cared about black women, you wouldn't be trying to tone police me. You wouldn't be cussing women out all day, every day. You wouldn't be lying to yourself, talking about you bringing truth to what's going on. Nigga, no. You got paid by the man to destroy your own group of women. You're the one with the whip. That's what you are. You're a sellout. A coon. So miss me with this nonsense. And then what, we supposed to be kumbaya with each other? Bro, no, you gotta understand, bro. So you saying black women do no wrong? Nobody's saying black women don't do no wrong. That's stupid. But again, you guys have selective hearing. And if once it comes to criticism of black men, you just can't take too much. That's why our race of men is soft. Just soft. You're crybabies. You're gonna blame the man and the black woman for everything in your life, and half the time the problems in your life don't got nothing to do with nobody else but you. Your failed relationships are you. Oh, but it's the woman. It's the woman. Shut up. Soft ass generation of black men, like I said.
So I made a video yesterday about the rising unemployment rates amongst black women, and the response that I got was definitely very alarming. There were a lot of negative, comments, and most of these comments were really coming from black men who were saying things like it's because black women have bad attitudes, it's because DEI, it's because AI is taking over, and many of which just miss the whole thing. Like, who cares? Nobody cares. It's time for black women to be taken down a notch. And it was really alarming, because the point of me posting that statistic was to get us to think critically about what's really happening. But instead, a lot of the comments were really more mean and almost conspiracy theory type comments. And so I really want to talk about it. So let's look solely at the numbers, because numbers are where we can at least hang our hat on and look at things quantitatively. So when we look at the American labor force or workforce, we see that it pretty closely mirrors the distribution by race of the American population. So what do I mean by that? So the American population, as of 2024, is comprised of 58% white, 19% Hispanic, 13% black, 7% Asian. When we look at the workforce, you have a similar distribution of race. So in the workforce, with the exception that Hispanic and whites are often lumped into a single category, but when we look at the workforce, the total workforce, you'll find 74% is white and Hispanic, so it's combined, 13% black or African American, and then 7% Asian. Now, where it gets interesting is when we move into the STEM workforce, you'll see that there is a little bit of a disparity, amongst black Americans. So what you'll find once you move into the STEM workforce, you'll find that 64% of all workers in STEM are white, and then you'll find that 15% are Hispanic, 10% are Asian, even though they represent 7% of the workforce. And then you'll find that African Americans are 9% in the STEM workforce, although they represent 13% overall in the overall workforce. So you can see that there is, clearly a disparity there. That same, distribution does not carry over into the STEM industry. Then when you pair that with other data that highly suggests that black people are more likely to be overrepresented in service type roles, or what's considered to be low paying, medium skill or semi skill or no skill positions, like bus driving, postal worker, home health aide. When you look at that statistic, then it helps you understand and put into context what may be happening here. So we can say real quick, or very quickly, that it's unlikely that AI is the cause for a lot of the unemployment that we're seeing, because again, by and large, African Americans that are working in the workforce are by and large working in non-technical semi-skilled, low-paying positions. And so these positions are not necessarily, they're service-based, so they're not necessarily being taken over by AI. AI is not driving buses. AI is not taking care of people in nursing homes, etc. So when we look at that, we realize that there is an abundance of individuals or Black Americans who don't necessarily have the skill sets to compete with higher paying jobs. And so more importantly, when you see higher unemployment rates, you know that the group of people that are going to be hit, hardest by this with respect to higher unemployment rates amongst Black women are going to be those Black women who are working in non-STEM fields. So what does it all mean? I can't necessarily tell you what it all means. I can't tell you who's replacing, some of these low-end positions and where those positions are going. What I can tell you is that, again, these service-based positions that have typically been occupied by Black Americans, AI is not taking over. So with that in mind, we need to then think critically, like, okay, so what is happening? And so what can we do to mitigate? How can we improve, our numbers in terms of employment rate? How can we improve our numbers in terms of pay and the types of jobs that we work? And one interesting thing before we answer that is, we can sort of look at, the Chinese women as an example. Chinese women, I think, are a perfect example because there's some semblance between, I'll say their struggle and sort of the woman's struggle here in the United States. And what you find in China is that, by and large, women in the workforce work in jobs that are technical, that are manufacturing-based positions. And so I think there's quite a bit that, women certainly, but particularly African-American women who are now impacted greater disproportionately by unemployment rates. I think there's something to be learned there that, having a highly skilled or specialized skill, it can almost assure future employment. And so, not integrating and equating, AI into this, because that's a separate conversation. AI certainly has made leaps and bounds, but there's still a ways to go. Before we can really talk about it replacing jobs. I've got some other theories, and I'll post some other things about AI not necessarily replacing, but merging jobs. But let's set all of that aside, and let's really really consider the idea that gaining more skills, specialized skills, is a great way to reduce the unemployment rates amongst any group. And so we can set aside biases, racism, and things of that nature, and let's simply just look at, skill set and acquiring the necessary skill sets to be able to compete with more high in demand jobs that are harder, for basically to get to be removed, if you will. And so these are the type of conversations that I was hoping that we would have. This is the type of analytical thinking that I was hoping we would engage in. And certainly this isn't a full span of everything that's happening, but I wanted to at least address some of the comments. Certainly there are women out there, Black women, all kinds of women that, may not have the best attitude, that may not work as professionally as they should, who do not lack the skill set. But I want us to think critically about what we can do, what's happening, and not, tear each other down with these very derogatory and demeaning comments around, nobody cares about Black women's unemployment or their attitudes, and we're better off without. Like, this is not constructive conversation, in my opinion. I think we all win as a society when our unemployment rates are at its lowest, or at the lowest it can be. So anyway, my just wanted to share that, and drop a comment and let me know what you think.